What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? They're not in order here. I just know because, you know, as a professional, i.e. unpaid host, I memorized the list ahead of time of people. And I don't know if anybody was here for, there was one particular AD reading series where everybody who read's parents were from a country that doesn't speak English. And I read everyone's name wrong. Like every single, like it got embarrassing. And you'd think maybe after embarrassing myself for 3 readers in a row during intermission, I would make sure to get the pronunciations ahead of time, but no, I did not. So it went the whole time. Anyway, Jessica Ankeny, I found out, it's Jessica Ankeny. Her chapbook, One Simple Step to Keeping a Clean Gun, is forthcoming in October, which is the next month, from Dancing Girl Press. And her poems can be found in Menacing Hedge, Wicked Alice, Lies/Isle, and elsewhere. Elsewhere being a word and not the name of another publication. Originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and thus probably has to take a lot of questions about Breaking Bad. Jessica currently lives in Brooklyn with her cat, Joni Mitchell. Jessica Ankeny.
It's Ankeny. Thank you, Will. I'm excited to hear everybody else tonight, too. Okay. I just spilled wine on all my poems. So if there's some awkwardness while I'm like turning pages, there's a reason. Okay, so The Haunting. I am gone to you. You and your 747. You and your semi-automatic, shooting through hallways, calling baby and sweetness incantations that work. You fool me. The ghost of intimacy walks between our bodies at the speed of sound while your fingers screw a silencer on the handgun as they grind and measure my skin for your suitcase. You open doors despite deadbolts, but I've hidden hallways by turning off the light. Leave before you see in the dark, before you realize my revolver is a muzzleloader and I forgot the gunpowder. Your hands hear me like a seismograph. I quake when you tell me to. I feel bullets but have no entrance wound, and you move me around them like you're hiding the score. We can't fight the same war. My body is a hair trigger, and all we do is lose. Maybe the healing that can has. She's pulling off her skin again and hanging the strips on the clothesline. She starts at the armpit and tears past the hip, protruding like a stone. Years ago, I asked why. She said, I'm opening the doors to smell and find it. What? I said. He told me something was rotting in here. I caught her smelling the thigh pieces. They were cut into little stars. I don't invite her over anymore. The muscles push and drip blood on the carpet like racing stripes. You'd think that tissue on her legs would dry out. It's been exposed so long. It takes forever to clean. I don't have the time. The late 90s, or a class of 2000. Bring sunscreen for the field during bomb threats. Love is patient. Love is kind. Big windows made before Columbine. 3 threats an hour and we evacuate. Sunburned anyway. When a gun is out there, turn off the light, lock the door, sit out of sight. Bible club. Debate team. Don't move, your sweater looks amazing on acid. Lockdown drill, prayer group, year-old dead, stepdad said he was clumsy, every piece of her body in bruises. Model UN, you should marry him, he's a good man and Christian. Sometimes I lie, still, and he stops. Pornography, clown school, a resounding gong or clanging cymbal. Skirts that show I'm spinning, curling iron, swing dancing. The president made her do it because he can. John died in a drive-by at River's Edge, Rachel by a drunk driver. President said, "What's the definition again?" Spiderwebs of blood on my thighs. Where there are prophecies, they will cease. So this next poem, I've been trying to write horror poems, even though I think I might already write horror poems, which you'll probably notice. But I thought today maybe they're actually terror poems, so I'm not sure the distinction between those two, so if you guys want to talk about it, talk to me. I think somehow, yeah. Okay, this poem is called Hatch. They release when her jaw is slack and tongue doesn't scratch the palate like a stick. Sarah thought she was allergic to sleeping, waking with hives on her lips and holes in the mouth, pins in the belly, bodies of legs. The larger ones drown the smaller in saliva to get out. She wakes with black specks clotted beneath the tongue like blood. They scratch against the teeth. She knew the moving darkness belonged to her body, the first morning with a lover overstuffed with swollen, whose boils opened sweet green across the sheets. He did not die, but neither did she. They became insatiable then. Sarah sleeps alone. But never alone. Her waking limbs slick with pus that dries to a thin lace in afternoon. The eggs pop nightly like champagne. Spindles hang on eyelashes. The rustle of small bodies balanced and climbing from stomach to heart until they undulate out the teeth, a new skin. She tries not sleeping, but the forced wakefulness while they bite lips for leverage is worse. She tapes her mouth closed, but the pressure of thousands pushing out ears and nose is excruciating. They try the corners of eyes or crawl back down the throat. Sarah waits. So what do you think, horror or terror?
Fairy tale.
Fairy tale. Okay, I'll take that. Okay. So I'm working on we're about to send it in, but the chapbook that Ben mentioned called One Simple Step to Keeping a Clean Gun. And my magnificent and brilliant friend, John Walsh right here, is illustrating a glossary of all these gun terms for me, which is amazing because it's hard to understand my poems if you don't know what a muzzle and a chamber. Anyway, congratulate him later. The problem with guns is, you shoot and the bullet is gone. Gunpowder gone. The prey must be big enough to eat for a while, or you must have enough bullets for tonight and tomorrow. I have enough bullets. Come here, pretty rabbit. I am tired of elk, and your legs will fit between my fingers. The boy who was born with a deer in his chest. From Mark. It sharpened the antlers against his rib cage until bone scraped bone. Many had a mother inside of them and had thought the fawn fixable. But as it grew, he grew too, and never enough. The pressure was terrible. He studied forms of fighting to expand his body wide with muscle, but the antlers grew larger each year. He started leaving to find a space big enough to let it move like knives beneath the skin, big enough to know the lungs without puncture. The deer had marked him as territory, and he began petting between the ribs. Like any caught thing, the two found fights, women, and bottles they could win. and pretend to prove they were free. He had thought they could soften his body to fit together easily. His chest blossomed in arches of green. And then he saw the fight too lasting, found the gun in his glove compartment and shot himself. The deer sprung wild, but died without a home. He had said they were contaminating our world, but where does that leave us? Leave me. The grass was yellow, a dead brown. Yellow. The concrete fence was wider every time I looked. People came to play basketball. The court was gray. The grass yellow, a dead white yellow. Someone said things should start to turn green soon, and I said no. Some things turn yellow and stay that way forever. A hand touched my shoulder. A hand touched the ball. The court was whiter and whiter every time I looked. Between the posts. The deer hung, one leg hooked below the tendon. The sharpest kitchen knife slid beneath the fur. My father pulled the hide and sliced the white fat until the skin was a tree skirt extended from the neck. Blood dripped rarely. The rib cage was already clean as a barrel. There are two kinds of people. The boys invited and practicing their aim, and me, watching. Thank you.
Jessica Ankeny, ladies and gentlemen.